Welcome to Woody's World of Wonders. Another film review. You're probably still bored. We've still been watching stuff. What we watched this time? Well, Munt is joining me, and we've been watching Lone Survivor on Netflix. We checked it out last night. Well, we were both pretty knackered because it was a late night.
Yeah, I'll wait for everybody to go. Hiya, mate. I'll wait for everybody to go to bed and start it around about 12:30, and with piddle breaks, it was 2:45 by the time I finished.
Yeah, I probably had an even later start. I finished even later. Here's the bloodshot eyes. Oh, it's great. But what a film, though. Jesus, my brother's been telling me to watch this film for years now. And I don't know why, it just sort of hadn't popped up. And then you said about, like, you know, list of films, what you were watching as well. We do a Friday night film together and then review it the next day. And as soon as that popped up on your list, I thought, yeah, that's the one. Straight away, got to check it out.
Well, I put it on and watched it, and I think we're going to have differing opinions, which is always healthy. But I'll let you go briefly over it before I rip it to pieces.
No, it's fine. I enjoyed it. Yeah, I did. I enjoyed it. I know Mark Wahlberg and Peter Berg together. Well, Peter Berg is straight as the director. It's strange because his filmmaking is kind of like Nick Cage as a film actor. It's very uneven. You don't know what you're going to get from him. You get brilliant films and you get really so-so films. I really enjoyed this. I mean, maybe it's because, you know, when I was a kid, I did ATC and stuff like that. But I knew folks then who went into the armed forces, and the proper ones who went in and became, you know, real decent soldiers and all that. I mean, they weren't the big personalities, the big braggarts and everything. They were really, most of them were really nice guys. And watching these guys, they kick off the beginning with the Navy SEAL training, and it's a bit different to like the SAS and stuff here. It's a bit different training, but it's along the same lines, and you just see them, and that is. You have to be a step above the normal human.
I've got no problem with the opening title sequence where it shows you the soldiers training, and the premise of the film is about a bunch of American Navy SEALs, and we know through history the kind of crap they go through to be the kind of soldiers they are. I've got no problem with that.
They're better than normal.
I've got no problem with that. It's when the film starts that I get pissed off. What annoys me about this film is, one, they shouldn't have called it Lone Survivor, and two, they shouldn't have started the film with him being the only one left, because when that happens is, you know what the outcome is going to be. There's going to be a lone survivor. You've already shown how he's been survived because he's been chucked on a plane. So straight away for the next 2 hours, you've got no vested interest in the rest of the characters because you know they're all going to die. And that irritates me. I hate that style of filmmaking, which starts at the end and then goes back 3 days earlier to explain how we got to this point. And I hated that. They could have called this film anything and then done the film, and then we'd have found out who was left at the end. I'd have enjoyed the film a lot better. But because I knew they were all going to die, it was basically a case of, well, how's he going to die? How's he going to die? How's he going to die? When it could have been
that's the thing. Titanic, you know the boat's going to sink. You're just wondering what's the story as you go there.
No, you're not, because I think Titanic is a Polish hit as well.
Well, but this, I saw it's one of those, the beginning's the end, the end's the beginning, blah, blah, blah sort of films. But I was still interested in the story. I know the soldier who done it, the Navy SEAL, wrote the book and everything. I assume it's probably all been called Lone Survivor and carried on. It's a catchy title, you know. You know straight away before you even turn the book up with the title Lone Survivor. You're pretty sure he's going to be the only survivor. You know.
And
it's the story of how it all happened. I enjoyed it, but I like a film like this as well.
But you said it's the story of how it all happened, but when you put it into context, there isn't really much of a story. They go on an operation, it gets botched, the one out of the 4 of them dies, and then some of them die in a helicopter. Film ends. There isn't really much of a story. And I was sitting there, and for the first hour, I thought, Jesus Christ, is this just going to be a bunch of blokes sitting in the woods? falling asleep.
no,
I nearly fell asleep at that point. I was going at the same. I know I was watching it late, but the first hour is laborious. It just.
That's it. I was watching it, just think it's setting up the characters. They did their training at the base and stuff, past the real life SEAL training that they show at the beginning. They cut in to like the guys that were going to go on the mission, doing like the running competitions, the whole general sort of army thing and all that. When they're making the one guy like sing and dance and everything, just like putting them down, you know, just testing them all. It's all the character building, all the brotherhood building.
Yeah, but they
go that they're a band of brothers.
It took them an hour and 10 minutes to get to that point. I know that for definite because that was an ideal time to go for a wee before I was fell asleep.
They want you to be invested in the characters.
Which, you know, they're all going to die, so I got bored.
Yeah, you still invested in the characters, so you feel it when they. I mean, to be honest, you feel it. That's one thing you've got to. You feel everything in this movie. Every time that they're shot, every time that they have to make a big decision and jump off another bloody cliff, you know, you feel every bumper back as they whack into trees, rocks, getting shot, getting blown up, folks dying, folks have eyes popped out, everything, you know, you feel a lot of it. It's what I call harrowing. It's harrowing viewing it. You feel every bump, every bullet.
There's a difference between me and you because when the action started and they started bouncing off bricks, I was in hysterics. I was sitting there laughing out loud. It was like something out of a Looney Tunes cartoon. The slow motion, boom, bang. Oh God, I was pissing myself laughing, Martin. I was sitting there and I was thinking, I'm sure the idea behind this was not to have people laugh. But I could not help laugh at the way the action was.
I can't believe that. I
was pissing myself.
I thought that was more realistic filmmaking rather than the normal Michael Bay sort of, what are you going to do with a situation like this? Let's blow everything up with huge explosions. Let's put up the flares and everything like that. I thought this was more the real side of it. This was, okay, if you were stuck in a firefight, that's more what it's like. You're just trapped there. You're getting... The bullets are zipping through you. You don't know where they're coming from.
I've got no problem with the way the bullets they got with the bullets fine. It was when the RPGs came out and they was having no impact on them whatsoever. That was irritating me. He's got an RPG and it was like somebody set a firework off next to him. Had no impact. And then 10 minutes later, someone's got an RPG and takes down an entire helicopter and 10 men. And I was thinking there was no real contrast in the power of the weapon. That was irritating as well.
That didn't bother me so much because shooting a rock is you'll get a different end result to shooting a massive vehicle which is full of fuel and everything.
Mate,
you know,
if
you shoot a rock and it blows up, it'll blow up and everything, but there's no extra explosion apart from what comes out of the rocket.
If an RPG hits the ground 6 feet away from you, Martin, if an RPG hits the ground 6 feet away from you, Martin, you are going to fly. They didn't move. It had no impact at all, and that irritated me. But I was laughing all the way through the action scene. So I'd sat and watched a film about 4 men falling asleep in the trees for the first hour, basically, because that was all I can remember. And then the second half of the film, I was laughing at the Looney Tunes action sequences.
Well, that's it. I think of it.
And when the helicopter came and they go, it's an RPG, why they didn't all jump out the helicopter? It was only a 12-foot drop. The guys that they've been going to rescue was jumping off mountains and falling 300 feet and getting up and walking away. Why they didn't jump out the helicopter? It was so unrealistic premise. I know it actually happened, but I'm sure it didn't happen in the way that it was portrayed on film. Like,
I'm sure the filmmakers took some liberties. Filmmakers always do.
Oh yeah.
That first bit though that you say about falling asleep in the trees and stuff, most of that is the setup to a mission. But it was what it came to an end to there, where they were discovered by like the goat herders. And then it was like they got the 3 of them, the old man, the youngish man and the kid. And then it's like, it's the moral decision then of what do you do? As they said, you know, we've got 3 choices here. Do we let them go? They go down. Who do they go tell? Do we tie them up here? If so, they might freeze to death up here or be eaten by wolves or whatever. Or do we just pull the trigger and get rid of the evidence?
I'd have tied them up, to be honest with you, and I'd have gone back up to the top. And then when the other soldiers came, ran back down, untied them, and then all jumped on the helicopter. Movie over. Easy decision, really. And that was I found that another irritating premise. Maybe in the.
I thought they actually described quite well why it was a harder decision, because people were watching them all the time. It'd be all over the news. So that they've killed another lot of unarmed citizens and everything. I thought it was quite a good sort of moral decision, really, to throw in at the beginning there. It was the wrong decision that they made, letting them go, obviously, as they go up the mountain and suddenly they're surrounded by Taliban everywhere.
I'll tell you what I did find about this film, though, is more and more so, is how good an actor Taylor Kitsch is. And because of John Carter of Mars and Gambit, the bloke is never going to be the big star he deserves to be. Because he
was obviously supposed to be huge.
He outshot the rest of the cast. Really did. I mean, Mark Wahlberg just found it in like he always did. The long guy there. I like Mark Wahlberg. I like him, but
he plays the American version of an everyman. This sort of thing, if it was a British film, it'd be Chris O'Dowd or Martin Freeman playing like a character. But in America, Mark Wahlberg plays the everyman character, you know, sort of semi-Superman plays the everyman character. And he does it really well. You know, there's a lot of films that he does that don't get rated. There are really I like Invincible, the football film. He's fantastic in that.
I've got no problem with him, but I just think that Taylor Kitsch just shone all the way through the film. It was a saving grace for me. I thought he was great in it.
I really liked quite a few of the actors in there. I mean, Taylor Kitsch, Emile Hirsch. I don't know who the red-headed guy was. Was it Ben Foster? There was somebody who looked a bit at least like Ben Foster who lost the eye.
The guy who was with Robin Wright, head of House of Cards and Princess Bride. Yeah. He was in the World of Warcraft movie as well. He was,
and you got Eric Banner getting blown up in that helicopter.
Well, that was a good decision. I mean, that could have been anybody in that role, really. There was no.
It's just the general casting in this was pretty good. I didn't feel let down by anybody. I thought they all put across good performances in there. The guys playing all like, you know, the Afghanistan folks, the Taliban and everything like that. Everyone was really good. The lead Taliban guy was creepy as hell. They picked someone with a really good look for that. Mm. And when they take one of the local guys that they think is like a spy or something out of one of the villages and behead him while they're all setting up, they're planning their initial raid, they're planning all their opera and everything from it, and they're showing the Iraqi the Taliban guys just taking somebody out of the village over to the log and just cutting his head off, but doing it in that Reservoir Dogs. We're not going to show it. We're just going to cut away and show the few blood splatters and everything. It sort of like put the stakes down straight away for life or death for them.
I mean, it's hard when you're basing a movie on actual physical, true story, and they want to protect and honour the people that died. The way the movie does that, it does a good job of it. But I just think,
especially right at the end.
Yeah, when it plays back all the people that have died, and it shows you Mark Wahlberg character with the bloke who saved him and stuff. That's fine. I just felt that it could have been made a bit better.
That's what I think they said.
I would have enjoyed it if it wasn't. I would have enjoyed it more if it wasn't the beginning at the end. If it wasn't called Lone Survivor and they called it something else. So I would have been a bit more shocked when the characters were killed. It took away the elements. I didn't know anything about the story to begin with. So it's not like the Titanic where I know the ship's going to sink. I knew nothing about this. Nothing about what happened on this day.
You didn't need to know anything. They tell you at the beginning. And then they Lone Survivor. They're not all going to come back.
But it was, would I recommend it for someone to watch? Yes, because you can watch it. It's not the best movie in the world, but it's not the worst by any long shot of the imagination. It is comical to watch them falling and bouncing on the rock. So if you like a laugh with your action movie, it's fine. I wouldn't pay to watch it, and I watched it because it was on my list, and that's about as good as it gets for me, mate.
And that's where me and Monty disagree, because as I say, my brother's been recommending this to me for a couple of years, and it's just one of those ones. I'd never gone on to it, but I watched it and I really enjoyed it. I did. I thought, you know, great casting. I thought it was set up nice. It gave, it takes its time. It's a slow build up. It's trying to set up the fact that these are a band of brothers. That's what That's what soldiers at that kind of level are. They're a band of brothers. They're each other's family. And it was just setting up the whole, as he loses each of them, as he says himself, you know, he's back, he's alive, but there's a part of him that's always dead and just staying on that mountain with his brothers, full stop. And I enjoyed that. I bought into that because I will buy into that kind of thing. I felt each and every bullet, each and every bump. It worked for me. The film in general really worked for me. It was slow to start. Then you have a massive burst of like action, everything going on there. As I say, you have moral decisions to make all the way through it. When they end, then he ends up in the Afghan like village. When he ends up in the river, and they come and save him, and just cannot trust these people. Can't trust these people. I've got a grenade. I'm going to pull this. I'm going to pull this. You're fucking dead. You're dead. You're dead. And realise they are trying to help him, and the fact that they're trying to help him as well, because that's their code in the village. They've always had a code to help people in need and protect people in need. And he's, why are you helping me? Why are you helping me? And that's it. And the one guy there was the obvious Taliban member as well, just coming back to try and kill him and everything. It's cracky. When he's asking for a knife with the kid, I mean, that just amused me. And the kid brings in a duck, and then the dad brings in a knife.
I think that's somebody took for me, mate. So it's a big thumbs up from Martin. Go watch it. Go get your way to go and see it. And it's if you've got nothing better to do and you're stuck and it's on your list, give it a watch from me.
That's it. Know what you're at. Know what it is, and know what you're after.
And there it is. Thanks a lot for watching, and we'll catch you again soon.
Woody's World of Wonder out.